Alright, let's try this again. Hey everybody, welcome back to my vlog for today. Hope you're all doing well as usual. Today is Tuesday, so it's Top 5 Tuesday. So for today I picked out 5 of my favorite TV shows. For the most part these are my top 5. There's 2 at the end that I'm kind of iffy about putting in top 5, but I'd say for now that's where these last 2 shows rank as far as my favorites, which I'll get to those shows after I get through these first 3 shows. First favorite show is Seinfeld. That's a great show. The writing is great. The characters are great. I started watching Seinfeld. I think I was in 8th grade, and I used to leave it on when I go to bed. And those nights where I'd stay up late when I watch it. I mean, it's been in reruns for over a decade at this point, which is insane to me. That they keep showing the show every night. It's crazy. But I think hands down it's probably the best show ever made. That's just my opinion. I don't know what your guys' opinion is. You can, if you got an opinion, you can leave it in the comments below. Let me know what you think. But just, I think my favorite character is Jerry. Just because, there's a lot of reasons why. He's just funny. I mean, they joke about him not being able to act, but he does a good job of, acting in the show, and up to the point where it's funny. I mean, I think he can act, but that's just me. But yeah, just the whole story of Seinfeld, like how it came to be, is interesting to me. That and Larry David having a hand in some of the writing, I think that helped tremendously. And which brings me to my next favorite show, which is Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is basically like Seinfeld, but it's way more vulgar. I don't know how many of you out there have seen Curb Your Enthusiasm, but it was a show that was on HBO. It was Larry David's idea, and he plays a fictionalized version of himself, kind of like what Jerry did in Seinfeld. He played a character of himself. And it's great too, because most of it's improv too, which I think is funny. And I think it's a good idea because it makes the interactions between characters more organic, and thus making it more funny to watch, especially once they're all coming up with this stuff off the top of their head. But it's just a great show. Some of the stuff that Larry David does is ridiculous. One of the parts I remember fondly is him getting punched in the face, and he put a tampon up his nose to stop the bleeding. And that was from one of the later seasons that happened. I mean, there's all kinds of things I could say about it, like the chat and cut. He did an episode where some girl pretended to know somebody so she can cut people in line to get food. What else was there? The time where he was with that Palestinian woman, and she wanted him to come over to the Palestinian side even though he's Jewish, and him and her hooked up and everything. It was pretty funny. So what else is there? Let's see. Plots episode. Let's see. Premise. Let's go to premise. So it says David has explained the show's title in TV interviews as reflecting his perception that many people seem to live their lives projecting false enthusiasm, which he believes is used to imply that they are better than you. This conflicts with his dry style. This title also urges the audience not to expect too much from the show. At the time of the premiere, David wanted to lower expectations after his earlier success in the entertainment industry. So that's basically, obviously the premise of the show. says Larry David stars as a fictional version of himself. Like real life David, like the real life David, the character is well known as co-creator and co-writer of the highly successful sitcom Seinfeld. Although maintains an office, he is rarely shown working. Most of the series revolves around David's interactions with friends and acquaintances, and with David often at odds with other characters, usually to his detriment. Despite this, the characters do not seem to harbor any ill feelings toward each other for any extended period of time, and the main cast has remained stable throughout the series. Yeah, so it's been all the same people for the most part throughout the whole series. And not mostly the whole part, it is the whole series that they've used the same characters. But it's just great writing on the writing team for Curb Your Enthusiasm. There's so many good episodes, I couldn't pick one of them. Maybe I'll do that for another top 5. I'll do one TV show, and I'll do 5 episodes of my favorite episodes of the show, so I can get more in depth into the show, and just go from there. So moving on, my next favorite show is a show I've watched a billion times over. Is Breaking Bad, and that show is extremely well written. I think the whole entire series was just, I remember when I first started watching it, I was on the edge of my seat for the next episode. I can't believe how long it's been since it came out, too. It's been out for a while now, and it's been on Netflix for a long time, too. But it says it's a neo-Western crime drama TV series created and produced by Vince Gilligan. I never heard of that before. A neo-Western crime drama. It's interesting. So anyways, it's just a great show. It says here it lasted for 5 seasons, from January 20th, 2008 to September 29th, 2013. So it had a good run, and they did it the right way. They didn't overdo it. They got out on a high note, and I think that's the way to go. It's actually part of a Seinfeld episode, is going out on a high note, with George making jokes and everything like that. Showmanship, I guess, is the word for that. But no, they did the show right. It was an amazing show. I still watch it to this day, even though I've seen it so many times. It's just I'll throw it on, just to have on in the background too. But I'll sit there and still watch it like it's the first time I've seen it. So, but anyhow, moving on to the next show, is an oldie but a goodie. Is the Twilight Zone. That's one of my favorite shows of all time because it freaks me out. I mean, I think the show was ahead of its time. It's just a great show. There's so many episodes from the show. I mean, Rod Serling really is a great writer. I think every episode I've seen has kind of freaked me out to some point, just because the way it's written and just the ideas behind the episodes. Some of them are creepy, some are just plain sad. It's just, like I said, I think it was ahead of its time in the as far as TV goes. But this was another show that I'll go more in depth in a different episode, a different top 5 episode. I'm trying to keep it, to a reasonable amount of time. But the last show that I picked was Key and Peele. It's a sketch comedy show, obviously. It's one of my favorites ever. That show had me cracking up so bad sometimes. Well, not bad in a way that's bad, but Key and Peele are just great comedians. Their show is great. I couldn't tell you what my favorite episode is, and that's going to be another Tuesday top 5 is my favorite 5 episodes of Key and Peele. I'll go over all these again when I do the next Tuesday, top 5 Tuesdays. But just the one that sticks out in my mind is when he plays the substitute teacher, and he keeps mispronouncing all the names and everything. I think that's hilarious when he's saying, Balake and D Nice and Principal Oshag Hennessy. It's just a funny show. Him mispronouncing people's names like that is just great. That and the when they do the East meets West Bowl and they pretend that they're football players and they have ridiculous names. I think that was funny. There's too many to pick from, and it's kind of weird that Jordan Peele, I believe, is bringing back Twilight Zone, so that's pretty cool. He's one of my favorite comedians, and he's bringing back one of my favorite shows, which is awesome. So I think that's a nice way to wrap up the video for today. Like I said, I'm definitely going to go over these shows more, but I don't see how you guys, anyone out there, could watch these shows and not like them, especially Curb Your Enthusiasm. That show is it's just over the top ridiculousness. Excuse me. That and Seinfeld's like a show it's about nothing. That's like the whole premise of Seinfeld. And then Curb Your Enthusiasm it's like I said, it's like Seinfeld but way more vulgar and way more offensive to some people, but I have an open personality and open sense of humor, so I find this stuff funny. He just has such ridiculous things. It's funny. Breaking Bad again, yeah. All these shows I'm gonna go through. So the next top 5 Tuesdays are gonna be about these 5 shows individually. So like I said, this is a good time to wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, next time I'm going to pick one and go more in depth with it. I just want to get my 5 favorite shows out there. And I hope you guys have the same feelings about these shows as I do. If you do, leave me a comment. Let me know what your favorite show is out of this list. Leave me a like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And that's it for me for now. I'll see you guys in the next one.